Well, isn't it a very interesting day to be a Nintendo fan? The Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been announced, everyone. After what feels like at least like 2.5 years of just constant online speculation, rumors, and most prominently leaks that has just like literally, I don't know about you guys, but taken my internet feeds by storm the past like 6+ months. This thing has finally been officially announced.
And honestly, I'm intrigued with this for a few reasons. Okay, so first of all, straight up, I'm not gonna like go in depth with all of the leaks that like were on social media over the past couple months, but TLDR is they were pretty much all true based on this announcement. Like, I watched this trailer and it's like, yep, that was all making the rounds. That's what literally everyone was saying, or at least all of the quote unquote, leakers were saying. So admittedly, it was underwhelming. But honestly, I don't think it was underwhelming for the mere fact that everything got leaked. I saw some people talking about them online, which I think, because I've been thinking about this for a couple hours now, I think it's a fair assessment to say that this announcement was bogged down a little bit by the leaks. For me personally, when I say it was underwhelming, I don't necessarily mean it was underwhelming just because of the leaks, but more so the fact that this is like an iterative console at the end of the day, where for me personally, I am very excited for like the software, the games that are probably gonna come out and at this point won't get announced until the direct in April. But yeah, just thinking about it over the past couple hours, I can definitely put myself in other people's shoes when I'm seeing people say that like the leaks kind of hindered this announcement and kind of watered it down. Because yeah, even though for me I wasn't necessarily bothered by it, it definitely does feel like an incessant child just constantly asking their parent to take them to McDonald's every second of every day until it actually happens, and then it's not really special. But then in terms of my reaction, or I guess like anyone else who isn't necessarily bothered by all of the leaks, I felt that it was a bit underwhelming for the fact that it was literally just the bare minimum of here's like the literal next gen hardware, come back in 3 months. And that was it. Like, for me at least, I honestly think that even if like I and everybody else like knew nothing about the console and like we saw no leaks at all, it would still be a bit like, okay, you showed us that it's going to look a little bit different, and you imply that it's going to be able to do more, but you're not actually showing us anything. What exactly are we looking forward to here? And I think at the end of the day, like, this is a very Nintendo thing for them to do in terms of like just this as a business move. So it's not necessarily surprising, but I do question if it's the most effective thing, because something I've been thinking about and I've heard a few people bring up is whether or not this next console will be successful, or if it will be another Wii U situation. Which, straight up, I don't think it'll be another Wii U situation, but I do think that it won't be as successful as the Switch 1. The thing about it is, with this launch, I think because this is an iterative console, Nintendo really needs to like emphasize the software, like the cool new games that are going to be coming to this console, in order to give it its own, like distinguished identity. And so I question making this announcement without doing that, For people who are like watching this video or who are online constantly, that are chronically online, yeah, Nintendo already has our attention, and we're probably going to be, keeping up with this, buying the console day one, at least a good healthy chunk of us, to make this thing successful. However, for like the casual gamer, the casual family unit, who Nintendo might also probably is going to want to target, I don't know if just dropping a trailer showing a Switch that looks like just any other Switch with no games, no revamped UI, but saying come back in 3 months, I don't know if that's the move. Would I go as far as to say that it's gonna like destroy this next gen?
No, but I think that there is a non-0% chance that some similar things that happened with the Wii U could happen here, with, you know, casual gamers going, okay, so this is just like when they announced the Switch OLED. This is just another one of those. I'm not gonna, you know, do anything different or buy any new hardware. It's just another Switch. You know, because like they announced the Switch Lite, they announced the Switch OLED, they've done a million special edition Switches. What's different about this one? Whereas in my head, if, again, leaks regardless, like forget about the leaks for a second, drop an announcement, at least show off more games than just Mario Kart, which, I mean, that was kind of like an easy pickings for them to show a little bit of new Mario Kart in there. But do more than that. Show off a pretty UI that looks completely different. Show off themes, you know, to distinguish it from the UI from the Switch 1. And, like, at least start sowing the seeds in people's heads that, hey, this is going to be a different experience, even though it's in the vein of the Nintendo Switch. That being said, something that I have not really heard a lot of people ask about is whether or not this console will last another 7 years. Now, I know that some people might be saying that that's a, you know, irrelevant question. We don't necessarily need to be thinking that far ahead. And I'm not even thinking about it in like a super deep way, but I do think that when you look at like the Switch 1, just like really quickly, I think in addition to it being an industry-defining console, because it is, like, it very much, both culturally and business-wise, like, was a revolutionary console. It has lasted as long as it has because of that, as well as because of the pandemic. When you think about it, the pandemic was only, like 4 years into its lifespan? God willing, we will not get another pandemic. Combine that with the fact that, again, this is iterative. Combine that with the fact that there is a non-0% chance that people kind of pass this up. At least, you know, some people might. Again, there is a possibility that this just doesn't reach anywhere near the same heights as the Switch 1. And that's why I think it is very imperative that they double down on basing this console's identity in the games. Which kind of brings me to my next point, which I'm going to be open about when I say that I am very biased. After seeing this, and after seeing what I am interested in, which is the tour dates that they announced for starting in April, I kind of wish that Xenoblade was coming out around the Switch 2's launch. Again, with leaks, we kind of already heard that it wasn't gonna be until like May, June, possibly, but I personally was hoping that was going to be wrong. But right now it's looking like that will be the case in terms of when this thing is going to launch. And so because of that, I personally, for as much of a Xeno head as I am, I would have been fine if Xenoblade got delayed until later in the year so that it can launch at the same time as the Switch 2. Because I think a game like Xenoblade X would have been the perfect game to like bring in casual people. Like, really give the Switch 2, like, a colorful identity. Like, bro, this is a colorful mecha game with the Xeno brand that has... It's not mainstream, like, yet. I don't know if I want it to be mainstream, honestly. But it's gotten big enough to where it is recognized and it is noticed. And so you have this new game that, you know, it looks great artistically, aesthetically, based on what they've revealed so far. Why not just pair that with the Switch 2 launch? Again, I think, I can't speak for everyone, but I know for me, I would be fine waiting until like the summer or even the fall to play Xenoblade X on the Switch 2. So yeah, I kind of feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. But, you know, at the end of the day, they do have the Direct announced for April 2nd. And we already have games like Metroid coming out. We know that Pokemon is most likely, at least from what I heard, Legends ZA is still going to come out in 2025 at some point. So that is something to look forward to. And then whatever surprises are left in store that are actually going to be launch titles, which is probably going to be, you know, new Mario Kart, new 3D Mario, and whatever else. So I hope that they really, like, go to town on like selling those games and like letting those games be the identity of the Switch 2 launch year, so that like
this system can hit the ground running. And yeah, assuming that is the case, personally, I'm really excited for these tour dates that they're talking about. I saw that it's one of those lotteries that you kind of have to get picked randomly for, but I was able to get in for Nintendo Live the last time they did one of those. So here's hoping I can do it again and maybe go with some friends or something like that, because I'm trying to be out there. Like New York, LA, what was the other one? I think there was there's only like 3 of them up on Nintendo's site right now, but there's several others. I know there's one for Toronto, there's one for I think London, Berlin, Tokyo. I'm gonna try to get into one of them. Back with the Switch 1, 8 years ago, I was a broke college student who, honestly, I wasn't even really following gaming news at that point because I was just so busy. So I had no means to like keep up with any of that, hype cycle. But now things are different. Still broke, but So even though this is an iterative console, again, my excitement lies in the new games that are coming out. Xenoblade, Pokemon, Mario Kart will be a great time with friends and everything. Whatever else is in the pipeline for 2025, and I'm trying to be out here for these tour dates in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, today was a very interesting day. We got a little over 2.5 months before this first big Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Let's see what happens. Let's see what's gonna be in store for 2025. Again, even though this whole thing might not be perfect, I think that there is more than enough potential, more than enough brand recognition after the success of the Switch 1 to catapult the Switch 2 and whatever it brings into some real, legit, long-lasting popularity. So yeah, let's wait and see. And in the meantime, I will probably be playing Xenoblade Chronicles X on a Switch Lite, which I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to do, but I'm not waiting several months to play Xenoblade X. It's just not happening. it's not. But yeah, let's see how this goes.